they're late. And if you have any more questions, Benjamin, please let me know. You can email me or text me, and I'll be happy to help.
Okay,
All right.
thanks.
So we will start, and in just a few moments, you will hear from a close friend of mine who has walked the Israeli Trail. He will share his experience and some unique things that have happened along the way. So before we start, please make sure your microphone is muted. It's just on the left bottom corner. Just make sure it's muted. And also feel free to write down questions in the chat box throughout the interview, and we will answer them. We'll stop and we will add them throughout the interview questions. So let me introduce him and stop sharing my screen. So hopefully you can see us both highlighted. Can you all see both of us? Awesome. So I think I'll let him just speak for himself. Shachar?
Hello, everyone. My name is Shachar. That's the word for dawn in Hebrew, D-A-W-N. I'm originally from Haifa, which is in the north. In the army service, that's where I met Gavri. We've both been in the Israel Air Force Band, where I play the piano. And I recently moved to Jerusalem to study. That's me.
So I'll start with, I guess, the best question or the first question anyone will ask you. When you tell them you're done with the army, and usually in Israel, people done with the army and they go backpacking, usually in India or around those places. Why did you choose to walk the trail instead of just going fly somewhere and go travel around the world?
Well, first of all, it was never a question of instead. It was I'm the plan is still to hike abroad. The Appalachian Trail you've mentioned is one of the plans. Um, but the question was about the Israel Trail. I think first of all, it's amazing trail. The views are amazing, and the change of climates. The you begin in the woods and you finish in the deserts, and it's really amazing. And it's so near my home. It's go right next to it, and I really felt obligated to do it someday, and I did.
So you just got into my next question. You said you start in up north in the woods and end up in the desert, but you could start either way. So that implying you started up north.
Yeah, that's true. And it really depends on the time of the year you start. If you start in the fall, it makes much more sense to start in the north. And then as you go south, it becomes colder. You don't want to be in the desert in the midsummer. If you start in the autumn, you do it the other way around. You start in the south.
So you decided you were going to walk the trail. You decided, okay, I'm going to do it. And you said, I'm going to do it in one go. Did you walk alone? Like, how did you come up with this conclusion of like, yeah, I'm just going to hike?
I didn't walk alone. I actually decided that I would try to find a partner, so it would be more organized. So I have someone to advise or to be advised by, and so yeah, I didn't. The question was, I'm sorry.
It's all good. I asked if so you decided to go to walk the trail. So how did you? Let me rephrase it. How did you choose your partner? Because you did say you went walking with someone. So how did you choose your partner and why?
That's actually kind of a funny story. I've worked in some ice cream shop, and my niece's boss told him she looked for a partner, and I told my boss I was going to do the trail, so he told each other about us. He told her about me, and the other way around. And we've met once, and after like 2 or 3 weeks, we've walked the trail together.
So you decided to walk the trail with a total random person that you had no connection except with one meeting, going to walk together for 2 months.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's kind of a bold move to do. Was like it was like, did you get like a lot of thinking about it, or you just, I'm going with it and everything's gonna be okay?
It was pretty. I just went with it. It wasn't really about. Yeah, and we both we've said in the first meeting that if we won't get along, it's all good, and we'll just go our separate ways. That's it, and we got along, which is pretty surprising to me, at least. We've walked for 2 months. Yeah.
Amazing. So you find your partner, you had the decision, you're going to hike the trail. So what do you do to start walking? Like, you just wake up one morning, take a backpack and go, or you have any preparation you should do in advance?
I mean, you should do some preparations. I did mine in a week, I think. You make sure you know where you're gonna sleep, like in the first few days, and that you have all your necessary equipment, and you just go.
So you said, like, where do you gonna sleep? Like, are you gonna just have a tent on your in your backpack and just build a tent every day, or like, do you have organized place to sleep in?
Um, that depends on where. I think like in the north, it's much more easy. You have like a lot of trail angels, which host you for free. Um, but I didn't have a tent. I only have a sleeping bag and some warm clothes.
Let me just explain that. Angels are a phrase or a name for people who are willing to host and feed you while you walk in the trail. You can find them all along the trail, and I will talk about them extensively in the next session, and you'll get to know the idea much better. So following the next kind of question. So while you're walking the trail, you're probably not the only person who walked it. Um, did you meet any interesting people, any new people, or any friends along the way?
Yeah, of course. I've met many. I mean, in like the first hour we've walked, we've met two people who who stayed with us for a month, actually. And then
Uh,
so yeah, so there was very amazing people. I've even met some German guy in like 40. He was 40 but looked like he was 26 or something. And he was very interesting. He was a doctor for electrical engineering, but it's not the subject. Yeah, but I've met lots of very interesting people. It was a lot of the experience to meet new people.
Amazing. Could you elaborate and tell us a bit more, maybe about this German guy or any other people that you met along the way that was kind of an interesting to meet? Because to find a German guy in the middle of the year walking the Israeli trail sounds kind of odd, I would say.
Yeah, it was kind of odd. Um, how, I mean, we had a lot of interesting talks. He actually grew up in Eastern German before the Soviet Union broke separate. He was an interesting guy, but he wasn't the only one. I mean, the girl who I brought for the 2 months, she was very interesting. She was we're still in contact. Um,
That's amazing. We do have a question in the chat. So the question from Benjamin is, there's no chance of rain, so you can hike without a tent, as you said, like you were hiking with just a sleeping bag.
mm, First of all, there is a chance, but a small one. I think in the whole trail, it rained once in the last night, and I mean in the night it did rain in the days, but not a lot. Um, but no, basically you can. Um, yeah, I think there's not much rain. I think in those time of years.
Israel not known for a lot of rain, so if you pick your time to start a trail correctly and wisely, you're probably not gonna have a lot of rain throughout. So it is kind of a bet on like if you should take a tent or not, but you really should consider that you're gonna carry it on your back for the trail, for the entire hiking. And usually hiking takes a long time a day. So around how many miles would you say, or kilometers? And I'll just translate them to miles a
Uh,
day have you walked?
I think the average was 20 kilometers, which is uh, 14
Should
miles,
be
maybe.
around it's about 13 miles or 12 miles, I would say, a day. Yeah, that's a pretty long walk with a lot of equipment on your back. Um,
That's the
I'll
reason
go
I
for the
didn't
next
carry a
question.
tent.
So, how's it like to walk? Because like some walking, I would say, like some parts probably gonna be boring because you do walk for a lot. You do walk for like almost all of Israel on the all of the landscape. So how do you pass time? How do you make time goes? Because yes, there are amazing views, but not always.
First of all, you're never alone. We had a lot of talks, me and all of the other guys. Um, so you have a lot of time to think, and I don't know. It was never boring. You always had something to do, something to worry about, something to think about. I had a great time.
Awesome. So let me ask you this. So you do walk through entire Israel, which means you do gonna walk throughout cities. So one of the walks you're gonna walk is throughout Tel Aviv. And if you ever see Tel Aviv, I would say compare it to New York City. So think about that. You're gonna walk throughout New York City, where as a hiker or as a backpacker with a ginormous backpack on your back, with a funny hat, I would say, and some hiking boots. So how does that feel like to you just walking throughout the big city like this?
Very odd. I mean, it starts all of this section starts a little bit earlier in the beach when where everyone just go to the beach with their children just to wash in the water, and you just walk with your, as you said, enormous equipment and go through them with your sticks, and it's very odd. Everyone with their scooters or something. Yeah, it was. I had a lot of weird looks on me.
So we do have another question in the chat from Benjamin, and his question is: did you have any communication and conversation with Arabs along the trail? Have you met any?
Mm, I don't
I
think
would say kind of
anyone.
a. I
Go
want to
ahead.
say it's kind of a like tricky questions because like for me for like going in Israel, it's not gonna be my first question to someone if he's Arab or not. So probably I would say for you as well, it's gonna be yes, but you just wasn't aware of because there's nothing like they're just people who live there like us. Like we all live there. So I won't say it's necessarily that you didn't meet anyone, just wasn't aware of maybe.
Um, I obviously met some Arabs on the way. I can't think right now on someone who walked with me the trail who's Arab, but that's by chance, I would say.
So another question from Renee is: assuming you have a phone, are there charging stations along the way?
Not really. That uh, that's where the angels you talked about comes in the picture. In the north, you really can free sleep every day in a warm bed. So we took advantage of that and we charge our phone there. In the desert, it was more tricky because you didn't have the charger every day, but I did carry a mobile charger, um, and I got along just fine.
Awesome. So if you know or not, I do love photography and I do like photos, and I think photos telling a story much better than you can describe sometime in words. So I'm gonna share some photos that I asked Shachar to send over, and we're gonna hear the story that's hide behind those photos. So let's start off. Um, we just I would say first few days. So what can we find in those photos? Like, is that what part of Israel is that, and is there any interesting story hiding there?
Well, as you said, that's the first few days. I mean, the bottom right photo is from the first day. Is from the first river, the first day. Nachal Snir, it's its name, and it's all like from the first 2 weeks. Yeah.
So this photo, I know there is an interesting story about that.
Yeah, there
And
is. Well, when we walked there, it was right on the time of raspberries, I think that its name. And we, I think we were one day 2 hours late because I couldn't stop eating those. They were so good, and they're all filled with spikes around them. So it's really tricky to find the angle to get to one. And so that's a story.
here you look pretty exhausted on this photo.
I think that's
So what happened there?
it's from the second day, I think, maybe the first day. It's really you build up shape. The first few days were very hard because I wasn't ready to the backpack. It wasn't comfortable at first, and it was just hard, I guess. Later, it was more easier.
So I would say throughout like you're exhausted, you just started to walk the trail. Is there any moment like that you just wait up for? Like you say, I know I'm gonna hike right now for like 12 miles, but the summit, this mountain summit is gonna be worth it. Like the view is gonna be worth it. Was there any moment like this?
Well, this is, I think, not this. This is another place, but there's one mountain which call its name. I forgot, but I would have. Anyway, it's like that's the place. I forgot the name. Um, anyway, it's I think it's the first big mountain in the trail. It's like after a week of walking, and it was because in the beginning you couldn't see anything. It's all between lots and lots of trees, and like the first minute we saw how much we really went up, we realized we were above the clouds, which was amazing. I think the bottom picture you can really see that it was really because when you go up, all you think is another step every time. But then you when you put your head up, it's really it was amazing that moment.
Thank you. So those two photos, I would say you're having a pretty nice dinner over here for hiking a trail and supposed to, I know, cook your own meal. And what are you doing in a car hiking?
That's
What's happened there?
actually the boss. The in the right photo, the left guy, that's the boss whose niece I've worked with. The niece is the one sitting not next to me. That's the one. The yeah. So when we were near him, he just picked us up and cooked us the dinner. It was very nice.
Awesome. So what's going on in this one?
That's I mean, after you walked for 13 miles, you have to do some stretching. Otherwise, you couldn't walk the next day. So that's us stretching.
And yeah, you did say it rain, and I guess you're not that sweaty. You just was it
No,
rainy
that's a
that day? Because you do have
yeah.
a
It
rain cover on
was
your backpack.
yeah. It was rainy. That's actually near Haifa, where I lived. Um, yeah, that's Mount Carmel, if you know it. And it was rainy that day.
So you do get rainy days.
Yeah, but not a lot.
And yeah, so you can see this next photo. I'll just mention it. It's when you hike the trail, I would say you do eat wherever you can. You're not always eating in the restaurant. You just eat in the outside of the store shop. I would say, yeah. Am I correct?
Pretty much. I mean, you could eat at a restaurant if you'd like. I think there's one nearby that photo. But yeah, we just we were hungry, so we ate.
So, who is this guy? Is
That's
this
the German
was
guy
that the
I mentioned. Yeah, that's the German guy. Yeah, that's all of the gang.
And what happened this photo? Because
That's just from a um, one store in the gas station. That's just pretty much
you're
buying
just wondering
stuff.
what your friends want to eat. It's all
Yeah, I
candies,
guess
right? It's like Turkish coffee on the bottom and just candies, just sweets.
just candies. Yeah, you need those.
You definitely do. And there's another guy running,
I
showing up.
think he was Slovenian. I've met him like once, and this picture, it's near a monastery, which is also a winery. So we drank some wine near the monastery. It's right on the trail. That place
Amazing.
was beautiful. Yeah, it's just after Jerusalem. This place calls is named Neve Shalom, Neve Shalom, which means the peace uh, something. And this place is kind of dumb. The left picture, it's dumb, and there's just amazing quiet there with amazing view, as you can see. And that's it. Special place.
And what's going on here?
Well, at some part of in the trail, we walked near a cotton field, and this is the cotton after it's being picked. They just put it in
Cool.
like huge wheels, and they are hard as a rock. So we just thought it would be funny to climb them, and it was fun, as you can see.
And okay, I know there's a story behind this photo. You can see your face right here. We can all see your face, so scared and so shocked. So would you tell us what happened?
Yeah, actually, in this photo, to get the photo, I crouched. That's the word, right?
Yeah, a
Yeah,
dock, maybe.
yeah, and I stepped on a bedrock who just fell the entire way down, and I was sure I was going to be with him. So, and that's the story about this one.
So right here, there's a cliff. So you
Yeah,
can see it
yeah,
really in the photo, but this is a cliff over here on this side. And yeah, so you almost fell.
almost
And
fell.
I'm still happy you didn't fell, and you're just sitting down there scared. That's a way better outcome.
I agree.
And as you said, you walk at the beaches, and on the left it's the
Exactly.
beach of Herzliya, right?
Yeah, that's in Herzliya, and you can see all the people just go to the beach, and I very normal day.
Some other photo of you doing a kiddush, Shabbat service, I would say.
Mhm. Yeah, in Herzliya. This is the uncle of someone I've walked with. You can see
And
you can see him in the
so
picture.
you basically just going to kind of random people houses and just get to know them, having Shabbat dinner with them, or
Pretty
that's
much.
incredible how people are willing to welcome everyone to their houses and just like
Uh,
without even knowing them.
well, I guess that's kind of it happens all the trail. People are really coming to the trail to meet new people. I mean, not all of them, but most of the people who you see are will start to talk with you, to get to know you, and to host you, which is pretty amazing.
So yeah, what happened here? We are clearly in the south of Israel.
Yeah,
Why are you so happy? What happened?
because we because I was down there, you can see, and I went all the way up, and I finished. So I'm happy, and I think this is I think this is near Masada.
So
Right near, I think you can see behind it the Dead Sea.
in the far
Uh,
distance, there's kind of a little spot of
if I'm
kind
not
of
wrong, yeah,
bluish.
yeah, and yeah, so it was right near. There's a pretty famous place called Masada, and I think that's the place.
So
Yeah,
what's going here? Why are you taking photos with two tourists in the middle of the
yeah.
desert?
Right in the middle of the trail, there's some archaeology, um, archaeology. That's only.
Archaeological places.
Yeah, exactly. And there were tourists who saw us walking and wanted a picture. They were Spanish, and yeah,
Awesome.
it's.
So they just found you interesting looking with your big backpacks and your walking sticks and
I guess.
awesome. So some photos from the desert, just walking around, just taking photos, just having fun with friends, sitting in the middle of the street on the left side photo. I was like, that's like the daily life at a trail. You just walk and you just do kind of like you feel like sitting down, so you sit down and like
Maybe
that's
that's
amazing.
yeah, mm, yeah. That's all the pictures from the Dead Sea. You can see us floating there, and
So yeah, if you didn't know, and if you never heard of the Dead Sea, is the lowest sea in the world, and its salt concentration is so high that if you just sit down inside the sea, you will float like you see in this photo. They're doing absolutely nothing, and they're just floating.
you really have to fight to get down.
So would you
That's
tell us about those two places?
yeah, of course. The right picture, it's called Birkat Sfira. It's a place right near the Dead Sea, and it's just an amazing pool right near the most amazing cliff. If you can see in the right picture, if you can see to the left of the cliff, you would see the Dead Sea. Basically, it's a river going to the Dead Sea, river with no water, and this is the pool on top of it. Was a very special place.
And on the left side, what is that?
I think that's just if you go down the cliff, there's this is the place. It just goes to it's the way to the Dead Sea.
Amazing. So you mentioned Masada, and if you ever walk Masada, there's a hiking path called the Snake Path, and it's look really kind of like this. It's all curvy and kind of look like a snake going up the mountain. But I think this one is a bit different, right?
Um, I think this is the one I tried to talk about before. This is the one that goes right next to it. I mean, you can see from there the snake trail, as you said, and it's just yeah, that's it.
And just a more amazing photo from the desert. And when you walk the desert, it's just wandering out in nowhere. It's just sand and rocks, and you can still find some. If you can spot the tiny mark on the bottom left corner of this photo, there's some hiking trails going along the Israeli trail. So this mark look a lot like the Israeli trail mark, but it's not. It's missing the orange line. So there is more path to go. There's more hikes. There's so many hikes to do in Israel. And I guess this photo is kind of self-explanatory. What you're doing here.
Cooking. This is the rocks are against the wind, so it wouldn't mind the fire. And we're eating oats. I think that's what we feel.
So I would say, as you said, up north and in the center of Israel, it's not that hard to get places to sleep or to eat. Like if you're walking in the middle of Tel Aviv, you can just stop at a restaurant. But once you get to the desert, you do explore and get to know more of like the hiking, of the backpacking part of the trail, I would say. And you do
Mhm.
have to carry on a pot and kind of a mini stove. just to cook for yourself, to have food throughout the day. And I guess this is a kind of interesting story by itself. This called Mount Cobalet. It's an interesting name. Cobalet is what the chicken have on their head, the male chicken. I will never be able to pronounce it correctly, so I'll just describe it as this. But would you tell us about this mountain?
Well, this it's not a mountain actually. It's it's the side of a crater, and it's called in Hebrew the big crater, and that's the actual name. And you basically just go through the side, and it's very narrow. It was very scary. I mean, I think it was yeah, exactly. As you can see, you just walk the entire time. I mean, for like I would say 4 miles, 5 miles, right on the top of it, and amazing view, very scary. I mean, we got up very early to because this trail is very dangerous and dark, and it was, yeah, it was very scary.
Amazing. Oh, we do have another question in the chat. So Renee wanted to know where do you get drinking water in the desert? Because it is a desert.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. We actually paid for a service that for someone to plant us water at the places we knew we were going to sleep. So we had there were no tap water in the most not most of the places. I think in the whole of the trail we did it like 5 or 6 times.
So the
To
idea is that you just call someone who doing water planting in the ground in the desert, and they just come around with a bunch of water for you. You discuss the amount you need, and they plant it inside the ground. So once you walk there, you can just dig it out, and you get fresh water for the day. Um,
pretty much.
so another funny photo, I'll say.
This is yeah, in a llama farm in Mitzpe.
You just go wander around Israel, see most amazing things you will never think you will see around such a displays. And well, it's all in Hebrew, but can you explain to us what are we looking at?
Yeah, that's exactly what we've talked about. That's the plan. It's divided by days, Monday, Tuesday, etc. And that's just when we're gonna need the water. We Because in the desert you have to plan where you're gonna sleep, otherwise you won't have water. It's just planning.
And well, you said you started off walking with one person and you walked the entire 12, but those two photos are there's a bunch of people inside the photos. So is all of them just hike throughout the trail with you, or you just did different parts with them? And how do you like get along as a group all together?
Um, we weren't really a group, but the nice thing about the desert that you don't really have anywhere to go outside the trail. You really have the trail, and it's very narrow. So if someone else is walking the trail at the same time, you will see him, and that's just us. And you see someone who stopped for eating, and you just join them. That's all those pictures, which was nice.
Amazing. Thank you. So photo is kind of a funny story because when me and Shachar reviewed the photos before we created them, we're so sure that this is a map and they're planning the day where they're gonna walk. But if you really look closely, it's just a crossword they're doing and not planning anything. But you can still see in the background the tent and just the mattress that they're sleeping on. And if you do ask how they slept during the desert, so this is pretty much what you do in the desert. You don't have a lot of places you can go and sleep in.
Actually, it's forbidden to sleep in the most places. You have like those parking places, which basically have rocks behind them, around them, and you just have to sleep in the middle. Otherwise, you will get tickets. It's forbidden to sleep outside, which Yeah, you can see those rocks, I think, behind the tents.
I think the idea behind of those is just to make those places regulated, and people
Yeah,
who come and inspect the area to make sure it's safe to sleep there and to start a fire and just spend the night there.
exactly.
Um, some more amazing photos from the desert, just hiking along the way and along the trail. And those all are views that you can expect while you're walking the trail and many more. You do get exhausted, right? This photo, you
Yeah.
look like
Always. Yeah,
so this photo kind of reminded me part of a trail I did. So I'll share that with you as well. So when I was about 2 years ago, I went to volunteer in the Arava. It's an area in the south of Israel. Is a really narrow strip, part of the African Reef, kind of the Jordan Reef, maybe I will call it. And they have all kind of palm trees they grow there. And the guy who I was volunteering at was name is Eliel, and he was a trail angel, and he had mini tents. It's a bit more than a tent, but look like a tent. Who host trail walkers, people who walk the trail for free. They just called him, "Hey, we need a place to sleep tonight," and he was like, "Yeah, sure, come." And they'd get them dinner and breakfast, and was all welcome. So I want to share a short video, some experience. Shachal, would you want us to tell us a little bit where you at before we play the video?
yeah. This is in a place called Par, which is a small village in the Arava, where Gabriel had been, and we just had the most amazing time with some young people we've met there who hosted us, and that's it. We had a great time.
So we did mention Shachar is a musician, and we do met in the army. We both served in the Air Force band. So you'll just see for yourself. And I'm sure you can recognize the song. I guess this video can pretty much sum it up the best way to see the trail and the experience you get along. So you meet tons of new people, you get amazing people that you will see along, and you do get the best memories you can have from this place, from Israel. Of course, there's so much more to do, but a trail is kind of like go and see Israel throughout your feet. Go and explore it, go wander in Israel throughout your feet. And this trail have it all, from the up north to the south, or from south to north. You get a full experience. You get so much of Israel, so many different people, so many different cultures all together. I guess now, if you have any questions, please feel free either to unmute yourself or ask in the chat.
The portion where you're going through Tel Aviv, I mean, you said you actually go through Tel Aviv University, and do you actually go through downtown Tel Aviv, or does it kind of get to do the outskirts?
If you know Tel Aviv, the trail goes right through the Yarkon River.
Oh, is that
So
where that trail, the bike path, that's
yeah, that bike path. There's if you look closely, there's those signs. They're there. They're just in the middle of Tel Aviv,
okay.
and you even leave Tel Aviv through that river. You just go on within to the south.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I wonder, as an Israeli, can you tell us if and in what way it changed your feelings towards your country and the people of your country?
Oh, wow.
And you might not be able to answer right away. That's okay. It might require some thought.
Well, I think all of the trail makes you very optimistic about all of the country, because you see, well, I'm not a religious person, and you see all these different people. I mean, I met so many specifically religious, but that's not the point. You really meet different people, and it's important to know that everyone are really humans and not those different persons. Well, I don't.
I'll try to rephrase it maybe in a
Yes.
better way of not let you choose travel with English. I would say what he meant is you actually going and meet the different group of people that you always heard of, learn of over the news, and you can see for yourself. You can see with your own eyes who they are, who they really are, and not just what the media tell you. Because what the media tell you is always it's a good story, not necessarily what's the truth is.
Exactly. But yeah, it really made me feel a lot better about the country, a lot
That's
more
amazing.
optimistic. Yeah.
So we
That's
do
great.
have
Well,
another question in the chat. Oh, sorry.
No,
Go
just
ahead.
saying it sounds like you experienced what in Hebrew is called Israel Hayafa, the beautiful Israel. Like the beautiful side of Israel is right there on the trail, and
Yeah.
diversity.
Exactly.
Nice.
We do have another question in the chat, and it's what's the different culture did you experience along the way? Were there people of different ages on the trail?
Yeah, of course. I mean, most of the people were after army, mostly officers, I would say, like that were for the army for longer periods of time. And but as I said, the German guy who was 40, I think there was one who was 18, which was the youngest. And yeah, I knew one, the Slovenian guy was like 50, I think. There was a lot of ages over there.
And what different cultures did you experience?
Different cultures. I can't say that all of the Kiddush Shabbat and all of those things are new to me, because I didn't know them, but I did do them along the trail a lot. And I think the culture I was exposed to is more the religious type, which I'm not. I'm from the big city, very not religious, and that's, I can't say it's new, but I didn't really know the people behind that, who those are their beliefs. I think the people are the more the newer thing, because I did know I am Jewish. I know the religion, I know the customs, and that's not the new thing. The people.
Thank
I hope
you.
that
Do we have any more
answers.
questions?
Sandra?
Now is that awkward silence moment of Zoom? Because we can't see people with. Do we have another questions?
Yes, Sandra,
I have a
you can talk.
Is there any section of the trail graded in such a way that somebody with any disabilities, somebody who uses a wheelchair, can enjoy that section in Israel?
I think so, but
I
I'm not sure. I really didn't think about it when I walked, but I'm sure the internet has the answer, or you have.
I can answer if you want. There is absolutely parts of it that are accessible. Of course, Tel Aviv, very accessible, and part of the trail itself. There are some hikes require climbing mountains, and stuff like that, so they won't be accessible. But there's a lot of different places such as Masada that you can use a cable train to go up there, and they are accessible. But definitely there are parts you can walk and see, and a lot of parts. Absolutely. Do we have any more questions? All right, if not, let me just tell you that next week, December 20th, we'll dive into the trail. We'll get a better look at the trail and learn why we call it the Israeli experience a bit more. We'll learn a little bit more about the trail itself and how you're actually gonna walk it. And I'm gonna show you some interesting things you can also do right now throughout COVID time, or even plan your hiking if you wish to. And also I prepared something for you. So in the next 2 days, December 14th and 15th, I'm gonna do a pickup, a drive-through pickup of a goodie bag full of goodies that you make you have more fun throughout our third and last session. So that'll be from 4 to 5:30 p.m. I'll just send a reminder about it in an email. And if you do have any issues of getting there, you can please contact me and we'll figure it out. So thank you, Shachal, for sharing your experience and your story. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you for listening.
Where do we do the pickup?
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mention that. We did a pickup at the JCC. All right, it's gonna be outside, so just stop the car and I'll be there and give you the goods bag. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Bye-bye.